Hello and welcome to Piano Shack with me, Woody. Thank you very much for tuning in. So I'm thinking about upgrading my digital piano for a more high-end model. And currently I'm in the research phase, which is a lot of fun. I'm looking at pianos from different manufacturers, comparing their features, and I thought I'd take you with me on the journey because I think some of you might be interested, and perhaps even better, some of you might be more knowledgeable about this than I, can share some advice with me. So let's get on with it. I'll tell you which pianos I'm looking at, why, I'll explain my requirements and what I'm looking for in a new digital piano. I hope that sounds interesting. Let's get started. Obviously then we have to have Yamaha on the list. They are very established manufacturers of both acoustic and digital pianos. They've had this Clavinova series that has been running for decades, but newly released is the CLP700 series, which consists of the 735, 745, 775, 785, 4 different models. But I'm going to be looking at the, not the entry level one, but the next one up. So let's take a closer look at the CLP745 piano, which is what fits my budget and the features that I'm looking for. Okay, so here is the 745, features the latest Grand Touch S keyboard action. So really important for me is the keyboard action. The reason I'm upgrading is to get a better action. We can talk about this during the course of this video. But this has their real nice, not their highest end keyboard action, but the next best that they have in their digital piano ranges anyway. Of course, the sounds are excellent. The piano that I currently have, my P121, has excellent sounds. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But this is even further improved. I'm not sure how they could make it any better because it's already perfect in my opinion. But the reason I'm upgrading is not for the sounds, it's for the better action. So here we go. Let's see what it says. Two-way speakers. This is what it looks like. It's available in white, which is the model that interests me. So let's pull that up there. We can get a nice angle. Okay, white and a sort of wooden creamy look. New Yamaha CFX Bosendorfer piano sounds. We get these on the Modi X, but these are even better improved somehow since July this year, 2020. 38 voices, not interesting to me. Improved virtual resonance modeling. Yes, that's great stuff. Grand expression modeling. The Grand Touch S. So yeah, unfortunately not the best highest end action they have, but with wooden keys, that's important. I'll tell you just after this actually what my requirements are for the new digital piano that I'm looking to get. We have, yeah, lots of power there, good speaker systems. All digital pianos from all manufacturers at this price point have superb amplification systems, excellent piano sounds really. So there's not really much to choose between them for this. I think they are all really good. They might sound slightly different to each other, of course, but they're all fabulous in their own way. USB audio recorder, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, the main things here I'm looking at are the piano samples and what the action is like. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's back up a little bit and we'll talk about the features that are important to me when choosing a new piano. So this is what I'm looking for in my new piano. It has to have wooden full-length keys, and there is 2 parts to this. The first is that I'm looking for wooden keys, solid feeling keys. The piano I have right now has plastic keys, which is okay, it works fine musically, but you can feel, especially if you touch it with your fingernail, as sometimes happens when you're playing, that they are hollow plastic keys. That does take a little bit away from the enjoyment and the realism, the feel of playing a real acoustic piano, because they don't have hollow plastic keys. I've never seen one anyway that has those. So what I'm looking for is to go all in with the best action you can get with solid wooden keys, just like a real acoustic piano. And full length means we're not talking about the length of the keys that you see, but the length of the keys that extend back to the hinge. I'm looking for a really long key action that is hinged way back, so it's easy to play the keys, even if you play them further back. Let me show you what I mean. On this particular keyboard, they're probably hinged around here somewhere, which means that you need a lot more force to play them towards the back of the key, especially on the black keys, where it's quite hard to play them here at the back. But if they were hinged further back, then it's just as easy to play them here as it is to play them here. And you might be wondering why you play a piano towards the back down here. Well, that's actually quite common if you're playing in the black keys, the sharps and the flats, where your fingers naturally end up playing towards the back of the keys. And it can be quite hard to control the dynamics when you have a short key length, a short distance to the pivot. So that's what I'm looking for in my new Action long full length keys, similar to what you would get in acoustic grand piano. I need line outputs so I can do a decent recording for you. We need MIDI output, both on USB and the round DIN sockets, so I can connect the piano to my keyboards to play the piano sounds on those, or perhaps to a computer so I can play Contact or Piano Tech. I like to have a discrete control panel. I really dislike lots of buttons, blinking lights and screens glaring at me on digital pianos. I want all the technology to go away so you can really get the illusion and the feel that you're playing an acoustic instrument. Yes, I'm looking for a furniture style cabinet, so not a portable slab style digital piano. I want something that looks nice in the home here. Preferably white, actually fairly important. Both myself and the family would prefer a white piano. My budget is super important, somewhere between 20,000 krona and 30,000 kronas, that's Swedish kronas, where I live, which is roughly $2,000 to $3,000 US. And of course, decent sounds and good quality speakers and amplifiers. But at this price range, all of the pianos from all the manufacturers deliver with this kind of feature. All digital pianos today have a lot of features that I couldn't care less about, completely uninteresting to me, and those are extra sounds. I just want one good piano sound. That'll do it for me. Bluetooth, I don't care. Wi-Fi, I don't care. Tablet apps, not interesting to me. Built-in rhythms, accompaniments, nope. I don't need song players and recorders, nope. I don't need any practice features. All of those things, just a waste of space and a waste of money for me, personally. What would be nice though, but not essential, it would be great if you can tweak the main piano sound somewhat to adjust the brightness of it, make it more mellow perhaps, add more resonances, control the volumes of the key off and the key on noises, that kind of thing. Would be nice, but not essential. Okay, let's look at the next brand, and this is Kawai, who makes some absolutely wonderful concert grand pianos and acoustic upright pianos, and also they make really nice high-end digital pianos as well. And Kawai are renowned for having some of the best actions, the digital piano actions in the business. So this one comes to mind. I've picked out from the CA series, the Concert Artist series. They have, let's see, the 29, 49, 59, 79, 99, always complicated model numbers with these things. It's hard to keep on top of it. But this is also a newly released piano. Sometime during 2020, this was released. It replaces the CA78. And the reason I've gone for this one is it does have Kawai's absolute best, most high-end keyboard action that is available. Now, if I'm going to, it might not be necessary for me, I'm not the most advanced player, but if I'm going to upgrade the piano I have, I might as well. I mean, this is a once-in-a-life purchase, perhaps, or I might as well go for the very best that is available. And this one isn't the highest-end Kawai piano. That is the 99. And then they have some hybrid pianos as well that actually combine a real acoustic action with a digital sound source. This one is like a simulated digital piano action. But yeah, it's certainly way up there in the Kawai line, one of the very best they have to offer. They call it the Grand Feel 3 wooden keyboard action. The Yamaha we looked at earlier only has wooden keys for the white keys. The black keys are plastic, which is a bit strange to me. I don't know why they do that. But Kawai have wooden keys throughout. And you might wonder why that's important, since you don't actually interact with the wooden part of the key, but it does make the key feel very solid, and it makes it respond more like an acoustic piano when you press it down and it bottoms out. The wood tends to dampen the vibrations, I think, as you press down the key hard. That's my understanding. I'm sure someone can enlighten me in the comments. I'd be very grateful. And it does have some really nice samples as well of Kawai's very high-end grand pianos as well. Let's carry on down. The highlights, latest Grand Feel 3 wooden keyboard action. They've got some ebony and ivory simulated key surfaces that your fingers actually play. 3 sensors, let off, counterweights. Yeah, this is a real high-end digital piano action, and the sounds are really good as well. I did get the opportunity to play some really high-end Kawai digital pianos in a showroom last year, and I was really impressed. It's a different league to the piano I have now, but again, these were pianos costing $2,000, $3,000 compared to my $600 piano that I have today. But they were really nice to play. The feeling of the keys was fantastic. I was surprised they were actually narrower and slightly shorter keys than I was used to. But I did compare to a Kawai grand piano that was in the same showroom, and that felt very much the same. In fact, their keyboard action was really, really close to the grand piano that they had there. Yeah, fabulous. And the sounds, nothing to complain about either. So this is a pretty strong contender. But this, here we go. Here's a nice diagram here. Let me explain this for you. So you can see, I'm just gesturing with my mouse now. The part of the key that you normally see and play with your fingers, it's just this part here. But on a real piano, the keys extend way, way further back, and they are pivoted around here. And this is the big difference really between expensive high-end digital pianos and cheaper digital pianos, and in fact all types of keyboards. You tend to find on the cheaper keyboards they are hinged here, which most beginners wouldn't notice. They still play fine if you're playing the keys at the very tips, but as you play further back, it becomes really hard to press them down, at least with accuracy and good dynamics, when they are hinged very close to where your fingers are playing. But this one, hinged way, way back, you can see even they are emulating the feel of the hammers flying forwards as you press the key. So that's a really nice diagram that kind of explains what I was talking about. And yeah, extra long key length, extra long pivot length. This is the best that Kawai have in their digital pianos. So this is really interesting to me, but it is slightly over my budget. But let's carry on and look at the next contender. So Roland don't make real pianos, but they do make some of the very finest digital pianos with lovely actions, things like their V piano technology. Let's see what Roland have to offer in this price range. The high-end LX series is the range of pianos I've chosen to focus on here. They have the LX705, 706, 708. Now the 708 has everything I could possibly want. It's got the best keyboard action Roland have ever made, the best modeling piano technology combined with their sampling technology. Beautiful looking instrument, but way over my budget, $5,000 or thereabouts. So I've taken a look at this one. The next model down, the 706. 705 was pretty nice as well, but it didn't have Roland's best keyboard action. It has one of their very good wooden actions. I think they call it PHA5. More or less the same as you get on the RD2000, I think, and some other high-end FP pianos from them. But I want the best action you can get, really. If I'm going to do this, then we're going to go all in. I want the best they can have. But the 706, just like the 708, they have identical actions, extra long to the pivot point, exactly what I'm looking for. So this is the one I'm honing in on today. Now, although they don't make real acoustic pianos, they have some of the best technology in the business, I think. This one, for example, has 6 speakers. The other ones we've been looking at are 2 or 4. There are actually speakers down here, whereas the other pianos just had a flat panel of wood there. This one has speakers built in, downwards firing speakers here underneath the keys, and upwards firing speakers. And I think on this particular model, you can even open the lid and affect the sound of the piano, just like a real acoustic. And of course, this one actually is a bit higher, a bigger cabinet than the other ones we've looked at. This to me looks more like an acoustic piano. Unfortunately though, I'm not seeing this one in white. It might only be the 708 that's available in white. I'll have to check on that one, or perhaps take a look at some other models. But this is absolutely packed with technology. Let's take a look. Another nice image there of the keys showing the entire length all the way back to the pivot point, which is extremely long on this. Also wood, I believe for the black and the white keys, but I'm not sure, so don't hold me to that. Does it actually say here? I'm not seeing it. It just says it's a wooden key action. Yep, here's the speakers, just as I was saying. And I think the technology here Certainly on the connected app front is better than the other manufacturers. Haven't done any tests on that one, so don't hold me to that either. But that's just the impression I get from reading a lot of the reviews and doing my research here. What do they call their action here? The piano sound is kind of based on Supernatural, the V piano, but they call it something else here. Pure acoustic piano modeling. I've heard the demos. It sounds absolutely excellent. Yeah, you can model the space that the piano is in and so on. The keyboard, hybrid grand keyboard, wood and plastic hybrid structure with escapement. That's the slight notch you feel as you press down a key slowly, just like a real grand piano. Ebony ivory feel. All of these 88s. All of them have progressive damper pedals, so you can half pedal to get the sustain, half on or off. Yep, so this is a good one, but I'm not really sure about the colours here. I might have to go for a different colour than white. You can just see if the 705 has white. It's got this light oak, which is actually quite nice. The 708 also has, look at this. I mean, that looks just like a real acoustic, doesn't it? One thing I have noticed with the Rolands, though, if you specify it in white, it looks okay, actually. I've seen other pictures where it looks like the control panel, which is along the top here on the Rolands, is actually in black, which looks a bit odd. The nice thing about some of the Rolands is that you can pull down the keyboard cover, the keyboard lid halfway to actually hide the control panel completely, which is something that's really nice. On the other pianos, they tend to be touch screens over on the left-hand side, or like a panel on the cheek block where you've got lots of buttons and an LCD screen, which I really, really don't like. I wish they could hide away the control screen and the buttons completely. So that's a bit of a drawback. But that seems to be the same with all of the pianos I've looked at so far. I would really want all that technology and digital stuff to go away, to be honest. For my purposes, I don't need any buttons or screens at all. I just want to turn it on and play the primary piano sound. But it is what it is. Okay, we have one more brand to look at, and this is a bit of a black horse. Is that the phrase? Black horse? Black sheep? No, not a black sheep, not a black dog. Dark horse. Yes, the dark horse, the brand you might not think of when you're looking at high-end digital pianos. But this is really intriguing and a definite contender on the list of pianos that I'm looking into and need to go and have a play on later. So yeah, let's take a look at the next brand. This is Casio. Okay, let's take a look at the Selviano Grand Hybrid from Casio. This is a fascinating lineup of digital pianos. 3 legendary pianos. They've sampled two German pianos, 2 Europeans and an American piano or something. We'll check that a bit later. And it does seem to have a lot of character in the sounds. I had a Casio PXS1000 here for review about 6 months ago, and I was really impressed with the actual sound of that thing. The detail and the realism in those samples was really good. A step above the Yamaha, I think. The action I wasn't equally keen on, but this one has one of the best piano actions available in any digital piano, certainly at this price point. We'll get to look at this a little bit more in just a second. Oh, here are the grands they've sampled. I don't know what the actual manufacturers are. Probably a Bechstein, because they are making this piano in collaboration with Bechstein, who are a very established manufacturer of acoustic pianos. So Casio obviously don't make their own acoustic pianos, but they have partnered up with Bechstein for this. There's a Hamburg Grand, which I suppose one of these is a Steinway, I'm sure. Vienna Grand, I don't know. It's a shame they're not allowed to say what they actually are. We've got some sound samples here as well. I'm going to carry on down. We'll look at some of the technology here. I'll go up here. Touch. Perhaps that's what we should look at now, because that's the big deal about this keyboard. They've incorporated a keyboard action based on a real grand piano, again in partnership with Bechstein here. The same mechanical principles as a grand piano, including wooden keys, so that ticks that box. And the key length here is one of the very best in the business. Hammer action derived from the response of a grand piano. Here's a picture of their action, a picture of the wood they use to make the keys. And this is kind of interesting. Again, they have a plastic weighted hammer that flies up as you press the key to give you the most authentic feel of playing a real acoustic grand piano. And this one, you can even open the lid and peer inside and see the action mechanism working, which I find quite fascinating. The model I'm actually going to look at, I'll show you the details in a second, is the GP-310 black white. Let's see a little bit more about the experience here. One thing I would say, I've done a little bit of research here, read some of the forums. There's quite a lot of controversy about Casio calling this the Grand Hybrid. Hybrid normally means that you're marrying a real acoustic grand piano action with a digital sound engine. And that's something that Yamaha and Kawai do with instruments costing 3 or 4 times the price. They actually push in a real acoustic grand piano action or a upright piano action. That's normally what hybrid means, and there also is quite a lot of misinformation, I think, on the internet from some of the retailers of these pianos and reviewers and so on that actually give the impression that what Casio are doing is putting in a real Bechstein grand piano action and combining it with a digital piano sound source, which is not the case. I don't think there's any way that you would get a Bechstein grand piano action at the price that this keyboard is selling for, which is between $2,000 and $3,000. And also, it's just, if you read carefully here, you can see it's a digital piano action, just like the other manufacturers, but based on the mechanics and the principles of a real acoustic grand piano action. It isn't a real physical grand piano action. It's a digital piano action. I hope that made some sense. And if anybody wants to explain that for me a little bit more in the comments, I'd be very, very welcome. But there is a lot of controversy, you know what I mean, raging on the forums about Casio's marketing about this particular piano. But one thing is undeniable. It's certainly, at this price point, one of the very best actions you can buy. And it's certainly, the specifications look really good on it. And I did get the chance to play one very, very briefly in this exact same showroom that had the Kawai pianos, and I was really impressed with the feel of it. And also, you can see on the pictures, it's a very elegant looking thing as well. So let's just take a look at the model that I'm interested in buying myself. So here it is, the GP-310 in white. You can see it here, a very handsome looking thing. There's a plaque there that says something along the lines of designed with Bechstein. We'll see if we can get a close-up of that, perhaps not. I kind of think that plaque is a little bit ugly there, actually. I wish they'd have put it inside the lid or something. There's the control panel over there on the left. Yeah, this is a pretty classy looking keyboard. Yeah, this is the one I'm looking for, and it's well within my budget. This is the cheapest piano you can get with full-length wooden keys. It's a no compromise action at a really great price and really, really interesting to me. Here's another picture that I find interesting. I'm not sure if that's a photo of a real Bechstein grand piano action or the one that's in the Casio. They look like real hammers to me. I mean, if that's the action that's in the Casio, that's really impressive. Just look at the amount of wood. Yeah, I think it's even got a wooden base. I did read that somewhere. So yeah, this is a really high-end action for the money. And I think the sounds, I'm expecting the sounds to be very good as well, because they were superb on the PX S1000. So I just went over to Thomann there because they had some better pictures than Casio do themselves. The control panel is fairly discreet, I suppose. Some of these pianos at this price range start to have the touchscreens there, which I don't really like. This is quite nice. Hopefully we'll get a shot. Yeah, you can actually open it up. There's a perspex or glass panel where you can see the hammers flying around. That's a nice touch. And there's the plaque I was talking about that I don't really like, but they are proudly saying developed in collaboration with C. Bechstein. I don't know how much involvement the real piano company had, but I think they collaborated certainly on the action and the sounds. At this point then, we have a short list of pianos that I'm considering. I'll present that for you right now. Of course, if you think I've missed anything that you think I should be considering, then please do let me know in the comments. I really appreciate your advice and help here. Here's the shortlist then, and what I've done for you is given you the price in Sweden, in SEK, Swedish krona, and also I've Googled it a little bit to see what the price is in the retailers in the US, since most of my viewers come from there, and I'm sure you might be curious what it costs in the USA. For all other regions, please do check what the price is in your area if you're curious. So first up, we have the CLP745, which comes in at 28,000 SEK. So that's within my budget. But I have to say, I'm a little bit disappointed that at this price, you're not getting Yamaha's finest digital piano action. You're getting the Grand Touch S. I really want the best you can get. That would be the Grand Touch, but that means you have to step up to the next model in the range, which is the 775, which is out of my budget, unfortunately. So yeah, this is a strong contender, but I'd have to compromise a bit on the action. The other features that the 775 offers are completely uninteresting to me. So yeah, might have to settle for the 745. The CA79 has everything I could possibly want and the finest digital piano action that Kawai make. But it's come a little bit over budget there at $4,200, 33,000 SEK. So I might even have to go down in price there to the CA59, but that would be another compromised action. But I'm still sure it would be fine for me. But then you've got the feeling of, maybe I should have just gone for the best. This is a purchase you might make once in your life and then have this piano forever, hopefully. So yeah, that's a tough one. CA79, really strong contender, but a little bit pricey for me. The LX706, also pretty pricey. It has the best action that Roland have, but I'm not sure if it was available in white, so that's a little bit of a shame. And a really strong contender then, coming in here at just 27,000. And actually, just looking at the prices here, this is a really good deal in Europe, but in the US, not quite as much. At least it doesn't compare as favourably here to the other models as it does here in Sweden, where it's quite a lot cheaper. So that's the GP-10. What can I say about this one to summarise it? Yeah, probably a class-leading digital piano action. I'll have to verify that for myself sometime, and I'm sure the piano sounds are okay. Yeah, this is a really interesting contender. So I guess I'm going to have to try these pianos out, and what I'll also do is try the models lower in the range, because I'm realising the ones I've picked out are a little bit pricey, and I can't quite justify to myself spending that amount of money. I'm not a professional pianist or a high-end classical or jazz pianist by any means. I've got a feeling some of the lower models in the range might suit me just as well as these really high-end ones. Maybe I won't even appreciate the slight nuances between the different actions and the other features. So yes, I'm going to have to visit some showrooms, try out all of these instruments. If you want, I can take you along for the ride. You can join me on this journey to choose and purchase a new digital piano. Again, I'd love to have your feedback, your thoughts, your advice on what instruments I should be checking out. Also your thoughts on the pros and cons of all of these different instruments. Hope you found it interesting. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you again next time. Cheerio.